We had a suggestion for restriping out here, so we're not putting stuff in front. I think we really need to have the conversation about not putting stuff in front more than the restriping, but we will try and get it restriped. Most of the culverts are probably for press 20, so we got to figure out what we're going to do with parts for press 20 instead of stanchion here. So that was one of the suggestions we had. Don't forget, Bill Train's going to be here on today at 2:30. Okay, so you want to make sure everything's cleaned up. We had not an improvement. Well, I guess you could maybe call it an improvement. So outside the lunchroom now, there's a board over here. It's again, continuous improvement, right? It's a start. We're starting to communicating the new plant information, okay? Yet last night we got approval for fast tracking and permit fee waivers from the city. So that's up there. It was on the agenda for the city council last night. There's a newspaper article up there that you can read. I put up the stuff that the cranes are ordered for the new plant. We're working on the layout for the presses. I think there's something else. But if there's questions, the big thing is what we're looking at is if somebody comes up and asks me a question, if Isaac asks me a question about something, more than likely there's somebody else here that wants to know that information too. They just, they probably either don't want to ask me or they didn't think about it, but they were wondering about it, or they're just scared to say something. So we'll write those questions up too. So we'll sort of write those questions up. Again, it's new, it's supposed to expand, so if you have any suggestions on what else you might want to see or other information, drop it in the suggestion box, we can figure it out. So I didn't want to wait and just get the right board, so we'll start with that, we'll get moving with it, okay? So we'll try and do that. Alright, sorry. Alright, so the last step of the training was the training sessions were held based on the needs identified. So then once they identified them, they had the meeting. By having the actual members involved in the process, the buy-in to the training was greatly increased. And by having the members report on their actual job and the gaps that exist in their own competencies, the training could be customized to address both their needs as a group and as individuals. In both cases, the training needs to be related to both to the job as a whole and to more recent needs that on occasion happen with the worker. All right, training different levels at Toyota. Basically, we have focused most on our training examples on the team members, team leader, and group leaders on the shop floor. In this section, we will focus on the manager and executive level training. As you move up the hierarchy, jobs become less clearly defined and less repetitive. Yet the same basic philosophies, continuous improvements are ingrained in the Toyota culture. 1. Always prepare to understand who needs to be trained for what purpose and who will be qualified to do the training. 2. Do the core of the training in actual work situations by the supervisor who is well trained to develop others. 3. Always use a repetitive process of showing the student, letting the student try, and then letting the student practice with supervision. Never leave the student on her own until she is capable of reliably performing the work on her own. In order to understand the training and development strategy in the Toyota culture, it is important to distinguish the roles and functions of each layer of the organization. There are 4 levels: team member, team leader, group leader, manager, and general manager. The people at each level focus on level-specific work content and tools, but all levels connect to the problem-solving process. All right, just like yesterday we talked about the vision, that's what we're watching about the vision, right? So no matter what, everyone has a different task or output to get to that vision. So that's where the different training levels, the different supervisory levels come in. But everyone needs to get to that same goal.